Joining us now, early Siri, Uber, and Roku investor, and now managing director with Menlo Ventures, Sean Carolyn, and with us here at Post 9, Foundation Capital general partner Steve Vassallo. Welcome to you both. Steve, iOS 11 has a number of tweaks in it, a little bit of a change to the look of it overall. They're clearly trying to balance productivity, especially on the iPad, with simplicity. Do you think they're getting it right?
Well, it's I think, a classic Apple announcement of a lot of things that people have been expecting for some time, like we celebrate drag and drop, but that's a functionality that we've been sort of taking advantage of in our other interfaces for a long time. So I appreciate that they're bringing those features and functionality. But I do think that users are craving for more. They're looking for more from Apple from these conferences, and specifically around productivity features, ways of interacting and communicating in more substantive ways. I was actually struck, for example, by some of the things they're doing around payments. The fact that you're able to now not just connect with someone online, but and connect with them through text messages, but also pay them on the fly.
Right.
So I think some of those things are chipping away, but we're like craving more.
Well, Sean, between ARKit, this augmented reality platform Apple announced, Amazon Video actually moving to Apple finally, and Apple's kind of peer-to-peer Apple Pay announcement, which one did you think was the most significant?
You know, I'd actually say one of the ones you didn't mention, Core ML, is a machine learning library. And okay. I guess, you know, across the venture industry, we're just seeing stuff show up all over the place with basic AI features. And they're subtle, you know, it's face recognition, image recognition, tagging, things like that. But it's making every experience a little bit better. And they actually, I'm pretty impressed with the amount of functionality they packed into that library. It runs on the phone, so it's very fast, responsive. You know, doesn't still works when you're not online. So I was impressed with that one. I think the AR is a little bit novelty at this point. You know, until there's something that's in your glasses that you're wearing. You know, holding up an iPad or holding up a phone and looking at stuff, I've never found to be too compelling of a use case aside from kind of a toy. Apple Pay.
You didn't find that advancement in Pokemon Go to just be amazing?
You know, I predicted that was a fad, and I think it got a little bit bigger than I thought it would. But, you know, it still is a game. It's not changing daily life, which is, I think, the real advances.
So when you look at Core ML, what kinds of businesses, Steve, do you think are going to be able to take the best advantage of that? As you look throughout your portfolio, the types of companies that are tapping into machine learning, does that excite you?
So machine learning, I think, is absolutely a big piece of what Apple's investing in. They have some of the most talented hardware designers on the planet. And unlike maybe some of the companies that they compete directly with, they build hardware, which fundamentally they're new computing architectures that need to be built to support machine learning workloads. So I'm excited about what they're doing there. And to Sean's point from a minute ago, exposing those features and functionalities through APIs is going to basically birth a whole bunch of really interesting innovations. So,
like?
There'll be all sorts of applications related to sentiment analysis. So how is it that people are feeling about the experiences that they're having? Certainly recognition of what's in images. So today, Apple has a pretty lightweight way of telling whether you're in the photo or whether I'm in the photo, and being able to sort of then find all the photos with you and me in it. The developers have been craving that functionality at the API level, and Apple's exposing that to them for the first time. So I think we're going to see that really bear out, also with respect to gaming. And this is what struck me perhaps more under the covers. Many folks were not noticing. In fact, Metal a year ago, no one really was talking about it. Metal 2 yesterday is really actually, I think, going to be a very disruptive thing. The partnerships that they announced with Epic and Valve to expose high-performance functionality to developers, that's when really cool stuff happens at the app layer. So I'm excited about it.
Well, your point earlier about people craving more than Apple's delivering. I mean, Cook even made the point again yesterday that they're not interested in being early or being first. Do you think that'll change over time?
Well, they've always been the best follower. We always sort of give them credit for saying, hey, they just announced something really new, but then we look and we say, hey, wait, these Intel processors were in IBM's laptops or in Samsung's laptops a year ago. And then we celebrate drag and drop, as I mentioned earlier. So Apple's always been really good at this sort of notion of following with a better product. They weren't the first smartphone, they weren't the first MP3 player, but they clearly own those markets today. I think what's interesting is what's going to happen with this battle for the home. it's clear that Amazon wants it. They want to sort of own it through the lens of commerce. Google cares about it with respect to information. Apple, I think, really wants to own it with respect to entertainment and digital media. And that's why I think this device that they launched yesterday could be very interesting. It's priced higher than any other device competitively, but it also is going to deliver much more. And I think that's where the Apple strategy of delivering a better product later might actually bear out.
Do you agree, Sean? And where would you rank Apple in the AI race that we have going on right now?
Yeah, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with my good buddy in San Francisco. I think at $349, it's just priced out of the market. If you say, okay, well, what's the most important experience to own in the home? I really believe it's this voice assistant. Obviously, we were the very first investors in Siri, and the idea that, over time you're going to communicate with something, it's going to give you answers back. I mean, there's a long roadmap to get to the point where it's, speaks to you like an expert. But, at $349, that's not going to penetrate. I think it's more going after like the Sonos home speaker market. In the voice assistant battle, which I think is a really fascinating one, that strategy is not positioning them well to win. I think the two leading horses in that race, for the consumer angle at least, I think is Amazon with the Echo. I think they're going to ship probably 20 million this year, growing over like 6 million last year. And then Google, the Google Home is not, super pervasive product, but if you think of who has the most voice queries right now, Google, I think it's 20% of Google queries now are coming in over voice. Google obviously is used for search on every phone, so they're the ones to beat.
I'm surprised you would say it's too expensive. This is a company that's selling $400 headphones, $700 phones, but you don't think they can sell a $350 speaker. Interesting. Sean and Steve, we got to leave it there. Thanks so much.
All right.
Steve's new book, by the way, is The Way to Design.